On today's Screencastify, I'm going to show you how to use NoodleTools to create the Works Cited page for the Research Podcast for English 3. If you haven't been collecting all of your sources on NoodleTools, you can see one of your teachers to show how to import those new sources using the green button. This video is for everyone who has used NoodleTools to house all of their information for their sources and how to create a Works Cited page. It's really very simple. So once you have imported all of your sources, you're going to click on this button right here that says Export and Print. Once you do that, you're going to click on the Export Print to Google Docs, and this magic button is going to transfer all that information you stored into a properly formatted MLA Works Cited page. You can see here it's going to open it directly into a Google Doc for you. From this point, you can copy this and paste it into the end of your script, or if you want to save it as a separate document and upload it to your finished product at the end, that is fine too. What's really nice about this NoodleTools function is it does all the hard work for you. It formats things correctly, it uses that hanging indent, it knows when it needs to do an abbreviation, it understands what the proper punctuation is. You don't have to worry about any of that. And it makes this part of the project very easy to eliminate any errors. What also is nice about this is once you've created your Works Cited page, it's very easy then to do in-text citations when you're working on your script. So this is what I want to show you here. On this Works Cited page, you can see that some of these sources are alphabetized and have the information of the author's last name, like this one does. But then on our next one, you can see that I don't have an author for this, which is often very common. So when I do an in-text citation for this source, I'm going to use the title of the article, and I'm going to keep it in quotation marks because that's the proper way to cite that source. So let's say I'm working on my script and I have these places where I've inserted research and I want to give credit to that source. So you can see in this first section right here, I've included some specific information about how cycling a couple times a week is going to slash pain-causing inflammation. So because I didn't find that information out myself, I found it in an article, I need to give credit to that source. So in my script, I'm going to include an in-text citation showing where I got that information. So all I need to do is put in a parentheses, copy and paste the title of the article, close the parentheses, and then here's the only tricky thing. You put the period on the outside of that citation. It's the same thing we've been doing when we cite textual examples from novels. It's the same thing here. That period always needs to go out on the end. So this is how I would do an in-text citation for an article that doesn't have an author. My very next example is going to do an in-text citation where I'm borrowing information from an author. In this case, I've done a direct quotation again. I've put that information here. And then to show where it comes from, I use parentheses, the author's last name, close the parentheses, and the period on the outside. So those are just two really basic ways of doing in-text citations for this particular script. Another way, let's say you actually have a print source and like an actual book. I don't know if you're going to have that, but let's just say you do. How do we handle that differently? If you want to be more natural in your speaking when you're delivering this on the script and you don't want to have to give like the entire title's name or the author's name at the end, you can make a reference to it casually in your script. So in this particular part, I'm talking about why I'm setting this big goal for myself. And when I read this book by Daniel Pink about regret, he suggests that achieving our goals can insulate us from regret. So in this case here, I don't have to put Pink's last name in my parenthetical citation because guess what? I've already mentioned it up here. So in this case, I'm just going to put the page number with the period on the outside. And now I've given credit to the different sources that I've used in my script. Make sure that when you complete this project, you have in-text citations for every piece of information that is not your own, so that the reader or the teacher can find that information in your Works Cited. And then please make sure that you have a complete Works Cited page. If you're working with a partner, you only need one Works Cited page for the whole project. So combine your sources together. If you have any questions, please see a teacher, or you can always go to the library and talk to a librarian about how to use NoodleTools.